So, I got two topics here and then one main topic. I want to talk about how the UFC basically will have no competition. It will be a while before there is a stable organization that isn't just flowing money that will be able to compete with the UFC, that will be able to bring in big names in their prime to fight for them. But before we begin, if you like the content, subscribe. That's all I ask. Without further ado, we're gonna start off with this situation with Donn Davis and the PFL. I'm pretty sure you guys know the PFL is in a lot of trouble right now. They have a lot of fighters that aren't fighting and are being signed to fights. And we even have Patricio Pitbull Silva responding to Donn Davis. So let's get into it. Bellator featherweight champion Patricio Pitbull Freire has taken PFL to task for its disastrous handling of the Bellator MMA acquisition in late 2023, specifically the lack of fights for those combatants who sat on the shelf for majority of 2024. PFL head cheese Donn Davis insists the promotion did the best it could. PFL has always provided all fighters 2 fights a year, Davis showed on social media. When we acquired Bellator, they had 0 fight events, I don't know why it's capitalized it, scheduled for their Bellator 210 fighters in 2024. PFL MMA stepped in and best, oh my god, did best we could for them in 2024. 2025, all fighters again get 2 fights a year. Uh-oh. Well, here's the thing, though. They're not even getting 1 fight a year. Freire recently petitioned PFL for his unconditional release. Bellator is PFL's property. Many fighters didn't fight a single time, and many like me only fought once. Freire, I didn't say Pitbull. Pitbull replied, you said you'd honor everyone's contract and give them 2 fights this year. You didn't. You cut over 70% of the roster and had many renegotiate their pay. Don't expect. Now we move on to Dana White. As far as PFL providing everyone 2 fights a year, I really hope that's what's gonna happen. And not because many more will be cut, Freddie continued. I want PFL to succeed. It's good for the sport and for fighters. That said, I want to leave right away. Can we agree to it this week? And then we have Patchy Mix requesting his release from PFL Bellator. Bellator MMA returns to action when its latest Champion Series fight card on January 25th at Coca-Cola Arena in Dubai. The 37-year-old Freire has not competed since registering a technical knockout victory over Jerry Kennedy last March in Belfast. So, before we move on to Tyron Woodley, let's just talk about the PFL for a minute. So, the PFL, I would say this is their blow up here. Obviously, if you're hardcore, you're gonna watch it regardless. But, like, here's the thing. You don't just have one fighter. You have basically your entire roster is pissed off at you, saying that you aren't getting fights. You say you offer people 2 fights a year. That's not the case. Like, dude, yeah, ever since they bought Bellator, and when they bought Bellator, I thought that it was the perfect move for the PFL, right? You got a ton of established fighters. You got some former UFC fighters, because that's what the Bellator is. Bellator is the washed UFC league. Let's be honest here. Is that a bad thing? Yeah, but it's not the worst thing. Like, you have champions, you have stars asking to be released. And, you know, we're gonna get into the GFL here in a sec. But you need to make money. It's a business. I get it. Like, boxing relies on the Saudis, right? Bob, you can say all you want. Boxing, as far as a casual sport, is dying. MMA is taking over boxing, right? Now, obviously, MMA has been a bigger sport around the world for quite some time. Well, like, it'd be good if we actually had proper competition. If we had other organizations that can give the UFC a run for the money. Pride was their biggest rival, but all his contracts are fake. It didn't mean anything. When the UFC bought Pride, all they got was a bunch of tapes. That's it. Not a single one of those contracts are real. That's why I didn't get Fedor. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to be the case with the PFL, with Bellator. Like, then they're legit contracts. But, like, when you have guys not fighting, it, because of the inactivity, their performance is getting worse. When their performance gets worse, their star value drops. And when their star value drops, their money value drops. I don't think I need to explain that in a dumber version than that, right? Like, you have all these guys who are very talented, very talented. Are they the best in the world? Probably not. I think that the UFC, especially as of the last 3 years, has always been the home of the best fighters. You can argue one, but I mean, you look at the UFC, you got Pereira, Jones, Tom Aspinall, Dricus, Yuri, Pantoja. You had Nunes there, you had Kayla Harrison now. Like, the UFC is the best of the best. PFL and Bellator was UFC fighters that couldn't make it. GFL is retired UFC fighters that are all too old to make it. Now, I want to move on to what Tyron Woodley said about the GFL. We're gonna We're gonna watch this clip. We're gonna read the article, and then I'm gonna give you my opinion on this GFL league. I know I already did, but I have more to add on.
Let me ask you about this GFL because I'll be honest with you, I did hear from a...
Wait, let me make sure one quick sec. Aha, I forgot to put that on. There we go. Alright, let's retry this again.
name on that list that was revealed on our show last week, and like I haven't quite signed just yet. And so, what is your status? Are you fully in with this new organization?
Yeah, I'm fully in with the organization. I feel like, so many people called me, was asking me, am I in, right? Because they know I'm not gonna step to the plate and I'm not gonna be a part of nothing that's bullshit. I'm not gonna be a part of something that's not gonna pay me super handsomely or put me at a platform where, what I mean, the media and the attention I gather from that was just gonna build my brand up. So everybody that probably signed maybe 90% of them called me and made sure that they said you're in. Are you really in? So yeah, I like it because I like that the OGs get paid, man. Like getting boxing money in MMA is a whole flex, and I'm just excited to be a part of the new wave. And I've been wanting to get back in MMA. I really just kind of like put it on pause. Like I kind of ghosted it for a minute, and it never really ghosted me when I needed it. So I've been making this journey back anyway, and it was a good opportunity. It had some Ric Flair drip with the digits on the payout, and then it made sense for me.
When did they first kind of come in contact with you, and when did this deal get done? Like, when did it all get really serious between you two?
My deal was quick. It was me that took longer because I do so many different things that I can't basically agree to a contract that I would already breach. I'm gonna be commentating as a freelancer. I'm gonna be commentating on the zone. You see me commentate, with you with the MVP situation, commentating PFL. So with a league, sometimes you see fighters from the league, maybe not the PFL, but like in the UFC, you see those guys analyze. Like I even still have a contract with the UFC and ESPN. You still can see me on the desk anywhere, and I like to have that freedom because I feel like big moments and big fights I want to cover. It don't matter the promotion, so I had to make sure that was ironed out. I like the fact that when I told them what I needed to make, they didn't try to do a whole bunch of negotiation because I'm too far in the game for you to be trying to negotiate with me and play games when you just started, right? So that was the first thing that made me take it serious. It was no back and forth. When I said this is what it's gonna cost for me to put on these 4 ounce gloves and bust some nuggets up, this is what they gave out. And also just the thought process of the revenue share and the different branding and the way that, we can get it closer, closer to like some of these other sports we watch. Um, it was very interesting.
Alright, so now this is the thing, right? Here's the thing, guys. You need to negotiate when you're running a business. Business does not go off of emotion. Now, I'm happy for the fighters, but like, say Tyron Woodley comes in. He's like, I need 10 mil per fight. Alright. Gustafsson comes in. Maybe he's like, you know what? I want 5 to 8. Vanderlei Silva comes in. I want 5 to 10. How many guys are you gonna pay millions and millions of dollars? Can you reasonably run a company with 50-50 revenue share? Like I said, there's more factors than just paying fighters and that's it. You gotta buy the venue, you gotta buy distribution. Like I just went over this. These companies are gonna fail. PFL is gonna close down, and then the UFC will buy them up. GFL is gonna fail. Everybody on your roster is above 45. I think, well, okay, maybe not 45. I know for sure everyone is above 35. You can't run, you can't run a league of retired fighters, pay them millions and millions, and barely make a profit. Unless you're being backed by Saudi Arabia, it's fucking impossible, dude. Like I said in the beginning, I'm an MMA fan. I'm more than a UFC fan. I want, I want fights to watch. You know, occasionally I'll watch boxing. I do watch jiu-jitsu, right? But like, you need to build. If you're gonna build a company to compete with the UFC, you gotta get your own fighters. People are gonna look at your organization and be like, "Wow, I already seen majority of these guys fight. Maybe their their favorite fighter went over there. I know one of you in the comments said, you know, you're a big Gustafson fan. I am too. I am too. But it's not worth these guys at an old age getting brain damage for a couple million. Bring them in, put them on your board. Make them commentators. Make them analysts. Dude, Vanderlei Silva is almost 60. Right? Let me double check that. I don't want to be wrong here. How old is, I want to know if my, wait, danger zone. I don't know why that song popped in my head, but it did. Vanderlei. Oh my god, I cannot type. Vanderlei Silva is 48, okay, I was wrong, he's not close to 60. But still, 48. He doesn't need more brain damage. He was in Pride, he was in UFC, he was in Bellator, he's a pioneer of the sport. He doesn't need more brain damage for, a few million, a couple $100K. You know what's gonna happen immediately. They're gonna be like, okay, we need to walk back on this 50-50 revenue share. We're going out of business. Like, there's only so much money rich people will throw at this. Well, I don't know. To me, I don't think the UFC will have any competition anytime soon. Unless it's the Saudis putting on fights. They got nothing. They got nothing. Even then, if the Saudis want to put on big fights, the best fighters are under contract at UFC, so we'll see. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about Donn Davis's response to inactive fighters? What do you think about Tyron Woodley claiming that GFL is paying boxing money? And how long do you think these organizations will stick around for? Let me know in the comments down below, like I said. Yeah, later.